There we go. So a net is a two-dimensional diagram that folds into a three-dimensional figure. So when you think three-dimensional, what is that? Do you know? What are the three dimensions? You have width, length, height, right? So three different dimensions that you're working with. To turn it into a net, we're taking those three dimensions and we're just taking that figure and getting rid of one of the dimensions. So now it's going to have length and width, but no height, for instance. So my best example for you of what that's going to look like. Can you tell I have children? Pull-ups. This is a really old box, actually. I haven't had a potty training child for a very long time. So this is three-dimensional, right? A box. To make it two-dimensional, you're basically cutting along all these edges to make it a flat something. There goes a senior balloon. Is there any other net that we could make for this box? Could you lay it out something other than what you see right now? Yeah, right? We could have taken this piece right here and put it right here. Still a net for this box, right? So there's not going to be just one right answer when you have to come up with a net for something. This is an example, or if we put it here, that's another example. We could have put this one here. So there's all kinds of funky shapes that you could come up with for a net like this. So when you're checking your homework, if you're like, man, that's not what mine looks like, doesn't necessarily mean you're wrong. They usually give the most common ones that are given, but you might come up with something that totally works too, okay? All right. Example 1 here. It says, when folded, what shape will the net to the right make? So what is that FEDCBA? What is that shape going to be when you fold it up? A cube, right? Everything's a square. If you put 6 squares together to make a three-dimensional figure, you would get a cube. Okay, so that's the first little question there. What letter would be on top and bottom when it's folded if the D is the front? So if we see D as the front face and you fold everything else down to make the cube, what would your top and bottom be? Can you see it? It would be A and B, right? So you kind of have to think of it like, this isn't the best example, but if this was my setup for part of the cube anyway, if this was D right here, right? Then whatever's right above that, when it gets folded, is my top. Whatever's right below that, when folded, would be my bottom, okay? So A and B would be your top and bottom. Okay, and then what letters would be on the left and right in that same setup? E and C, right? This one here, this one here, okay? Okay, so then what you're going to be doing for part of this lesson is drawing a net from a given solid. Now, what you have to pay attention to with this setup is that you're given all of these dimensions to work with, and this is what I was talking about. There's a lot of nets that you could draw from that figure, okay? First of all, does anyone know what that figure is called? Yes, great job. I want to say Johnny. Nope, Jason. Yes. Jason. So that is a triangular prism. We'll get more into prisms later on, but this is a triangular prism. You have 2 triangles connected by rectangles around it, okay? Your job is to figure out how you can lay that down into a 2-dimensional figure. Now, one good way to do it is think through what faces do we have? What shapes do you see? So there's 2 triangles. There's 3 rectangles, so you should have 5 total shapes when you're done drawing this. A lot of you are going to be tempted to make it 4 or 3 shapes. Make sure that you see every single face. So why don't you try that right now? See if you can lay this down into a 2-dimensional figure, and then we'll do it together in just a minute. But I want you to give it a shot here. Love it. I feel like, just for the sake of you having it on video, I'm going to draw one here. I would say the most common one that I see is the one that has the 4x7, how Luke did it. By the way, I've been doing geometry for 14 years now. I'm still a terrible artist. It just isn't in me. So my apologies that you have to deal with my drawing ability with all these shapes. This would be 10 and 10. This would be 10 and 10. Okay, any questions on that? So today is pretty simple, basic, straight to the point, just nets. We'll get into more of this crazy stuff down here tomorrow, isometric, orthographic, all of that. But for today, just nets, okay?